All right, let's be real for a second. Does your cat ever, just stare you dead in the eyes while knocking a full glass of water off the nightstand? Or maybe your dog thinks your brand new shoes are his personal 5-star chew toy. Yeah, I get it. But hey, before you get too mad, just take a deep breath and be thankful. Because as we're about to see, pet ownership, it used to be a whole lot more deadly.
Because we are about to dive deep into some of history's most absolutely bonkers human-animal relationships. I'm talking about times when getting a pet didn't mean a quick trip to the local shelter. Nah, it meant you were literally inviting an apex predator to come live in your house. Okay, let's get into it.
To really wrap our heads around this, we gotta go back, way back. So let's hit that rewind button. We're flying past your parents' generation. We're zipping right by the whole powdered wig era, the ones that were basically a walking fire hazard. Shooting past the age of that super clunky, uncomfortable chainmail.
All the way past the giant woolly mammoths and rewinding right down to the core of this whole thing.
And here it is, the main idea. You exist today because an incredibly long, completely unbroken line of your ancestors somehow, against all odds, managed to survive the absolute worst, most dangerous situations you can possibly imagine. And a lot of those situations, they brought them on themselves.
So where do we even begin? Let's start with the royal menageries of the Middle Ages. See, if you were a king back then, a cute little puppy just wasn't gonna cut it. Nope, you had to go bigger. Oh, way bigger.
And that's exactly where the royal menagerie comes in. Like the slide says, this had nothing to do with conservation or, education. It was purely about flexing. It was a king's way of saying, look at me, I'm so powerful, I can literally keep a lion in my living room. What are you going to do about it?
Now, the truly wild part here is the sheer recklessness of it all. Just picture it. You're walking through the palace and there are just bears wandering the halls, or leopards lounging near the throne. They even had a polar bear hanging out at the Tower of London. There were no safety protocols, no enclosures, and definitely no one with a degree in zoology.
So how do you think that ended? Yeah, it was a total disaster. The poor servants who had to feed these things were completely unprepared, which of course led to some truly gruesome and 100% preventable deaths. Now you might be thinking, okay, that's just some crazy out-of-touch royals. Nope. Let's fast forward a bit to the Victorian era, and you'll see how this absolutely terrible idea trickled down to the regular, everyday middle class.
In the process, it was just absurd. You could literally flip through a mail order catalog and get a baby alligator delivered right to your tiny city apartment. People were bringing home monkeys, poisonous snakes, and crocodiles with absolutely zero idea of what they were getting into.
And yeah, you can guess the result. These families knew nothing about animal behavior. So you had these aggressive, hungry predators getting more and more agitated in these tiny, cramped spaces. It was an absolute recipe for disaster, and somehow completely legal.
But if you think that's wild, let's jump to maybe the most mind-blowing era of them all, the big cat boom of the 1970s. Yes, the 1970s. This is not ancient history, folks. This was happening in our parents' or even our grandparents' lifetimes.
Now, what's really important on this slide is that number, 0. For a shockingly long time, there were basically no regulations at all to stop your average suburban dad from buying a full-grown tiger and just, sticking it in the backyard.
And people did the most unbelievable things with them. I mean, can you even imagine taking a lion for a walk down Main Street on a flimsy little leash? Or having a tiger just chilling at a backyard barbecue next to the grill? A leopard was somehow considered a cool conversation starter for a dinner party. It's insane.
Look, let's be real. These are wild, unpredictable animals. So when their primal instincts inevitably took over, the results were catastrophic. People lost limbs, or worse, their lives. This wasn't some kind of joke. Which brings us all the way back to today. Back to your slightly annoying, but let's face it, ultimately harmless pet.
Let's just put this all into perspective. Your dog scratching up the sofa seems pretty minor compared to your great-great-great-grandfather's pet bear mauling the butler, doesn't it? The worst thing your pet is going to do is be an inconvenience. The worst their pet could do was fatal.
So, after going through all this historical madness, what's the big takeaway here? What's the point?
It's this. Your boring, safe, totally domesticated pet is an absolute miracle. It is a luxury that generations of your ancestors, who somehow survived all of this, could have never, ever imagined.
So the next time your cat won't stop meowing for food, just be grateful you don't have a leopard demanding dinner. before natural selection does its thing.
Hey, if you found this insane look into our past with the animals as fascinating as I did, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button. We dive into wild topics just like this all the time, and I'm on a personal mission to hit my first 1,000 subscribers. Your click would mean the world. Thanks so much for watching.